All right, let's get into Earth 2.0 and get into an overlay of evolution and creation, aliens in this world that we're being told about with the interstellar visitors. So let's go into some deep waters and some deep thoughts here and connect flat Earth, heliocentric model, the sciences of this world, the religions of this world, and kind of put it all together so we can maybe understand something else as far as where we're going, okay, and where we're at. Because this phone is a type of magic mirror, and the mirror is a way to look into the darkness. And this is kind of where our inner light, so-called, the demons, the dark side, whatever you want to call it, comes out and it expresses itself, okay? That's where, like, in the mirror, you can be all goofy or the whatever, okay? You got, like, this personality inside the home, or you might have this personality on the screen, or you might just come up with these stories or whatever for the screen. It just might be a character, whatever's kind of going on in our world, as the Israel is overlaid with the Israel and the Israel and all those things. So we have what's Israel in our world and what we can see and what we're taught, and we have the Israel, the documentaries and such were shown, and the history books and those things. So as all the world's consciousness and information is kind of being gathered up on a chip or a pinhead and such, I'm going to get into another video on these things, but it's kind of being taken from man and put at a blank slate. And one aspect, and that tribal community is coming upon the earth, and then it's going to be rebuilt as we look back. It can be possible with the first earth, and we're shown Genesis 1, hunter-gatherer. Genesis 2, God rested, Lord God came in, they started gardening and going to the city and such. And then Eve, she got the serpent, the Jesus, the wisdom, and said, hey, I don't need to be here being the slave and whatever. So she goes out, starts a new world, and all these things are interwoven that were shown. So that's where we're at now. We're this like 50, 70 years in such a bondage and slavery on this side is being gathered up, and where they can basically come in and do debt consolidation, and whoever buys up the debt owns that nation in a way, and he's kind of buying up that white nation. As far as when we look at this world, the white man, so-called, could have crashed here like 6,000 years ago. It could have been maybe the first albino, or that way as far as the physical representation. And that's where they created these laws or whatever, where you can't sleep with your sister and mama and whatever, because over a certain amount of time you would have that recessive gene and such kick in. But that's on a like a physical level, but also on a alien level. And we see the star clock, these stars going around us. When we get up so high, the stars disappear and such. So we see the pyramids, they align with the stars, or maybe the stars align with the pyramids, and everything kind of works up. As we're shown this Big Bang Bell kind of thing, the sun is underneath the earth here, and this can be that black magnetic ball thing that we, or whatever thing that we, the black magnetic table that when we dig down to the earth, we can't get past around that 8-mile mark. But when we supposedly do nuclear bombs and such, according to the truth community, these are ways to open up portals and dimensions and such. So ever since World War I, World War II, and these major wars and such, we've opened up different portals. And even with the Civil War and those wars back then, we're told, and then Abraham Lincoln and these people, the time of the satanic cults, and this part of those dark lights, and them realizing how to electrify the mirror, and all these things are going together. Okay, so when we look upon these things, okay, the dark light, the black hole that we live in, and the black hole tied into your tribal community or whatever, and the white man just kind of crashing here, and that white nation finally coming here because the aliens realize, hey, we're not ever going to be able to get all these people out of here or whatever, so let's just bring the technology to them in a way. Or every time people get beamed up out of here and whatever else, in order to do that, they leave back technology or whatever. This is where like your AI and computer, all these things can be kind of turned off in a way after all this kind of reset and whatever else is done. But and it can be turned off and turned back on, or where you have your phone, your cell phone, and all those things where you're in this cell, and Adam and Eve and all those things coming together, and you're shown this good and evil, and you just, oh, I gotta throw it down and go to sleep forever and go your Prince Charming, whoever your begotten son is out there. So as far as like living in a black hole and this magnetic force, we can be going and everything's through us, and this light and all these things are projected through us, and this is where this underworld and the shadow king and all these things that operates by the fear, which is the sixth ear, and that's the earth, and all those things come into our projection to control us, and he's trying to keep as much here for himself in the black hole because he needs his world to continue. But this is also where those who are taken are replaced by the machine or another source of light, and those who are taken also is tied to the DNA, which is the light, and the RNA, which is the messenger, and that's also tied to his name and number, his message and way, and that message, that ISO message, and all those things are coming as the Atlas, the third interstellar one, is here. And this is where they could be going underneath the sun. It could be actually going underneath the so-called table in a way, and as we see it under the table, we see it up there in the sky, and this is where it comes up through the actual magnetic core or whatever, where we can see it come up through the oceans or the earth and those things as it tries to come and break that thing or whatever. So this is a way where you see a rapture and some are left behind or whatever as far as a physical level, but we also see it on a spiritual level as that armband with that cross and stuff that were shown with Hitler or whatever is played out. So that's where you see evils and Elvis and that king spirit, and you can only look at the head and can't go past the waist and all that stuff. Okay, can't go into the deep waters. And then the dragon comes later as another king spirit, but this is where also Elvis took that on live TV, and then you had these people take this on live TV. It's 1911 Hollywood to Elvis to this time frame. Okay, so this is where we're in these times. Okay, folks, so what's done is done. The alien, the lion, the devil, this is where they're all teaching you the aliens or the Nephilim, the fallen angels, the demons, all this garbage or whatever to scare you and whatever, and it's keeping the people on the lowest chakra. The lowest chakra people or whatever are the ones who operate closest to their God, who's on the bottom of the black hole, who keeps them all down here. So with Antarctica, the island, there could be an ice island or another land that we're not told about that's on this map as far as this Earth. And there can be an ice ring also in a way, and there could be lands beyond that. But in order to get those to melt or whatever, because when we rise up enough on certain projections that we can watch, as far as your motion picture given life, you can see a blank screen in a matter of speaking, but this ice sheet, but this would be where like a second sun can come and they melt it out, or where we might have created that sun in a way and it's going to be burning out. This is where that hydrogen and all that stuff comes in. We might be trying to create another sun. This is where China has so-called created a sun and put it in the sky. So, and then we got another moon. So this is where all these things can be from us, as we've come in and made this a collective projection in a way, and everything comes from the bottom up, and this is where Lucifer's been also grounded to the ground in a way as that positive, negative, that magnetism and such, because Anyway, when we look out and we see the world flip, so this is where everything is within. And okay, folks, and then that magnetic pull is here now with your MAGA and your Donald Trump and your Netanyahu. And they're saying that Tucker Carlson's saying that he's a puppet. Trump's a puppet for him. And this is where like one is created here as a puppet. And then this system comes over here like your CIA and stuff to do this puppetry. So one's a puppet of the other. Either way. So this, the first man on Earth, that black Israel or whatever, can be the Mother Earth's first man, and then the star seed is being crashed in here, and this is where that alien civilization or that white man home or the those kinds of things can be coming later as John on the island of Patmos looks back, and you're in that John time frame now as you're in the middle deal for the John Trump. But the this is where, like, once you understand these things, we're like actually living in Atlantis, and then that's where you have Atlas and all those things overlapping. And once we have these things happen, and the consciousness is all changed on a world level, that's where everything rises up. But it also could be where everybody has been here and crashed here over time, and we're all going to eventually leave this place and go back to our home in the stars or whatever, because we're all just stuck here in this land of the lost and this black hole or whatever. And then we were never supposed to be here. And either way, that could be like a hard projection, so-called, and we got the soft projection as far as living in this black hole now and it getting dark as far as physically, and DC and New York and politics and whatever, as far as like since Obama, the dark sun came in and he's given birth to these dark lights that are trying to bring white lights into our nation as things have been taken and grabbed and whatever else. But so we're just in this black void watching everything circle around us, okay? And you're in that circle, and that circle keeps Earth moving and all those things. But either way, folks, we'll end it here. We're short on time on this one.